Well, happy Monday. It's January 22nd, and I want to bring you the latest data here in the Austin metro area. It's a little gloomy today. That's why it's dark out my window. Heavy rain today, but the spring market is starting to pick up. So I want to start with interest rates. So right now we're still below 7%. We have seen them trend up just ever so slightly. I don't think there's a new piece of data yet to help bring it down to the next level. I also think the bond market kind of got ahead of itself in guessing how many rate cuts the Fed's going to do this year. And so it's giving back up some of those decreases that it saw, but we're still at or below 7% for a standard primary home buyer. Here's kind of a look at what it's looked like in the last month or two. In December, we were at about 6.6, and it's just trickled back up. We might touch 7, but I don't expect we're going to go back up the way we were in the fall when we were at 7 and 8% rates and really slowed everything down. We have started the year in the sixes. We are still in the sixes, and that is creating some fuel for buyers for numerous reasons. So this is a national article. Are we seeing an early spring market? I would argue yes. And in Austin, I can tell you on the ground, and I'll share some stories in a minute, that we are really starting to see the market turn. But as mortgage rates hold steady, Redfin's reporting there's been an increase in new listings and new home tours, and mortgage purchase applications are up 3% from a month ago. But the Mortgage Bankers Association, which is running all those mortgages, reports that mortgage demand has picked up in the new year with applications increasing almost 10% week over week. So right now, they're really feeling that swell of buyers kind of hit the market. So are we seeing that in the local data yet? No, because data is looking backwards. So all the sales that we have closing right now in January are buyers that wrote contracts in November and December of last year. So it was a different market. Even in December, it was a different market. It was very slow. Interest rates were above 7%. And there was just a year of fatigue. It was a slow market. It was a sluggish market. Very little activity happened in December. And so you still had people either getting deals or sellers taking their homes off the market. But what's happened is since the new year, we're really feeling it pick up. So Austin has had price declines for about 19 months. From May of 2022 to December of 2023, prices have come back down, but that means they're more affordable. On top of that, for the first time in that 19 months, only in the last month and a half have we seen interest rates come back down and get below 7%. And so all of a sudden you have fuel to the buyers again with low, arguably lower rates, but more importantly, looking backwards, you can tell they're coming down. So buyers now feel like that's a tailwind. On top of that, it's colliding with what typically is when our market picks up, which is January through June. So every year, like clockwork on a calendar, January through June. In fact, let me show that to you here on this chart. So this is a look at 5 years of closings. This does not include any 2024 data yet. So 2023 was the red line, and you can see it these were number of closed sales. They were below all the past 5 years for the most part. They even below 2022, just sluggish, not a lot of sales. But when do the number of sales go up? It goes up in the spring, peaks in the early summer, and sales start to drop off in the fall. You always see a little uptick in December because you have people that want to close before the end of the year. They need to write offers in October and November and close in December. On top of that, you have some Thanksgiving week sales that get pushed off into December. So you always see that little peak there. But we're in this segment right here. We're at the low point, and every month we're going to see sales go up. We're going to see listings go up. And more likely than not, we're going to see price go up in the next 5 months. So if we look year over year, this is January 7th through the 13th. New listings, they're only down about 1%. Sold listings are down 27% compared to that week last year. That's a very small window of sales, but either way, that's a low number. We're about 3.5 months of inventory. That's lower than we've had over the last 7 or 8 months. Median price is down about 10%. But again, that is all backwards looking data because that's all 2023 activity. So what we do want to look at is we want to start looking at activity now. I'm going to come back here. So this is number of active versus sold listings. So right now, if I go back to February of last year, we had about 8,700 homes on the market. And then, of course, listings built up because interest rates were also going up too. Not only did sellers come to the market, but they weren't selling as fast. Our peak of sales was in May of last year. And typically it might be a little later in the year. So, but after that, rates just kept going up. The summer was sluggish, the fall was sluggish, the winter was sluggish. And you can just see the number of sales just went down, down, down. We didn't have a lot of sales activity. But we also have lost a lot of inventory. We had sellers take their homes off the market. We did have the stuff that stuck around starting to sell. Well, now we're sitting about 8,700 homes for sale. We're back to where we were in February. So we're probably sitting close to a low point in terms of inventory. And what happens is when you have less homes for sale, less supply, but you have demand going up, you have more buyer activity, more interest from buyers, you're going to see more chances of things to sell faster and to get multiple offers. So there were a couple deals over the weekend where I had some clients bidding on them or looking at them. And, whether it was new to market or had been on the market 90 days, we were still hearing some properties getting multiple offers. We hadn't had multiple offers on certain types of properties, especially if it wasn't first weekend, in probably a year. So now we're starting to see that buyer activity pick up. I think buyers are surprised by it. There was a Facebook thread where it was all these agents talking about the change in the market. And some of them were saying, hey, we had multiple offers, and buyers were calling me a liar because they thought I was just playing a game with them to try to get them to raise their price. And I'm like, look, I'm sorry, we have multiple offers. Our deadline's tomorrow. And so the buyers were frustrated because they assumed, hey, that house had been on the market 90 days. I should be able to walk in and make my low offer and get to negotiate and play the game, and the game's changing. So be aware of that. We are seeing a shift in the market. All right, so I want to flop over here. This is looking at rents. So this is going to be a little different. This is single family at the top, and duplex rents is the second box. So the average rent is holding about steady. It's pretty flat year over year. This is December 22 through December 2023. December is a very slow month for rents, and so is January typically. There's not as many people move in this window, so we're kind of in that low point of the tenant cycle. We really start to feel it pick up kind of late February through September. That's the big rental season every year. So if you're a landlord, you typically want to have your leases coming up in that, February through ideally early summer window so that you have time to get a new tenant. So this is looking at some data that's a little slower time period, but rents were fairly flat. Listings were fairly flat. Median rents were flat right on it. And so we didn't see rents move very much last year. And the reason is supply. We had a lot of supply on the market. I think it affects duplexes a little bit more. And we're seeing that average median rents exactly flat, and average down about 2%. Total leases were down about 13%. New listings were up 34%. So inventory is sitting around. And the main reason is Austin is one of those top markets bringing a lot of new apartment complexes to the market. We are building a lot of units. And when you build a brand new apartment complex, they are all empty. And so what happens is you've got to fill them up. And so those apartments have to offer discounts or rent incentives or things like that to get tenants in there. Those could be tenants that could come rent a single family house or could come rent a duplex, more likely. And so it's probably not affecting single family as much, but it is affecting the market as a whole in terms of supply. So I think we are a higher supply market last year. I think we will be a higher supply market this year. It may take another year to have that kind of tighten back up. We'll see though. If demand picks up, that could chew it up a little faster. And December is often the slowest month of the year in real estate. So just take that into account. All right, so if you are a seller right now, it is still January. The weather's still a little iffy. The data behind us is still lagging. And so the good news is we're hearing the market pick up. We're hearing buyer activity. We're hearing mortgage activity, open house activity. Everything sounds like it's going up. That is a combination of typical seasonality. We always feel it pick up after the new year. But I think we're starting to see a little bit of a tailwind with the interest rates starting to drop below 7%. And more importantly, just the fact that the prices are more affordable for buyers than they have been in almost 2 years. And so that's going to start to create that momentum into the spring, but you still got to price it right, because I do think you're going to have potentially more sellers getting that message. And so we're not sure how many sellers are going to come to market this spring. If they flood the market because they've been sitting on their house for 2 years and didn't want to sell it, and they bring it to market, we could see more supply. If you are a buyer right now, start with your lender every time. Talk with your lender, get pre-approved, make sure you really understand what your buying power is. And as mortgage rates remain a little bit volatile, you need to be able to pivot just in case you're trying to buy at the top end of your price range. And if you're a buyer, be prepared. You could have some more competition than you're expecting. You were thinking, hey, I heard how slow it was in the fall. I'm assuming it's going to stay slow. I'm telling you right now, the market is changing. We are heading into the spring market. I think we're going to start to see more and more buyer activity. And if those properties are priced really well, you may have to compete for it. Anyways, we're going to bring these videos to you each and every Monday. You can find them on our YouTube channel at Ryan Kelly Group. Just search that and you'll find us there. If you know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in Austin in 2024, now's the time. We'd love to have a conversation with them and kind of map out their strategy and help them find a great property or sell a great property here in the market. Until then, go get a raincoat. It's going to be raining for the next 2 or 3 days, and we'll talk to you next Monday. Thanks.